Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Jim Walmsley before the 2014 Speedgoat 50k. How you doing, Jim?
Doing pretty good.
What brings you to Speedgoat?
Competition, good prize purse, and the new distances, so excited for it.
This would be your first go at an ultramarathon?
I've done one 50k so far, and it went pretty well.
Which one was that?
I did the Old Gabe 50k.
Up in Montana, yeah?
Yep, about a month ago. So that one was pretty fun and ran pretty relaxed, and took my time at the aid stations, and it still ended up going pretty well.
You still set the course record there, right?
Yeah.
And there's some good runners up in Montana, so.
Yeah, there's been some quick runners that have ran it, so that and probably the Don't Fence Me In races have been kind of encouraging.
And is the longer distance there 30k?
Yeah, 30k.
And you won that this year? And,
yeah.
How far were you? Rob Carr still has the fastest time there, but you have the second fastest.
Yeah, I found out it was about a mile further than it really was, so I thought I was on a great pace, but then the last 2 miles just kept going.
Oh.
So, kind of got me with that. I thought I was going to be a lot closer to 2 hours if it was more towards the 30k, but it ended up being a little further, so I'll keep that in mind.
Lesson learned in trail races.
Yeah, keep that in mind next year.
You sort of gauge yourself at the aid stations. How close are they?
Yeah.
This one is probably a little hard. I don't know how hard the Old Gabe is, but this one is...
It's got similar amount of climbing, but it's got 2 times the peak. It's got 4 peaks instead of 2.
Gotcha.
So, but overall climbing it's the same, but as far as long climbs, it's not in the same ballpark.
No, and how long did Old Gabe take you?
5:26.
Okay.
So
could be a
rough
estimate.
Hoping at least be in the 5s.
Yeah.
But then we'll see where it goes.
And how old are you?
I'm 24.
So you're just 2 years out of the Air Force Academy.
Yep.
Where you run competitively for a long time, but you ran for the Air Force.
Yeah.
Did you run 3 seasons?
I ran all 4 seasons all 4 years. Cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, and didn't find a ton of luck in cross country, even though that was probably my strong suit coming out of high school. But I guess maybe struggled with the longer distances, ironically. But did all right on the track and kind of shotgunned it senior year and did a whole range of events.
From the mile through.
Yeah, the mile I did, or indoor season I did the mile, and I anchored the DMR for our school, and I ran a 4:04 and then a
4:04 in the open mile.
In the open mile and a full mile.
And that was indoors?
Yeah, and then 4:01 for the last anchor leg of a DMR.
So 1,600 meters.
Yeah. And then outdoors, I did everything from 5K to 10K to my first steeple senior year. So that was fun. And
you ended up running some, I don't know if it was during or right after college, but you ended up running a pretty good steeple, right?
It was all in college, yeah. So I did my first one at Drake and broke 9 on my first one. And then my second one was at conference, and I won conference. And then my third one was at NCAA regionals, and ended up, I think I ran 8:51 and qualified for nationals. And then in the semis, I ran 8:41. And then the finals was 2 days later, but that one just felt like a gorilla was on my back. So I didn't do as fast of a time there as I would have liked, but it's all right. It was a really good experience, and finally made it to nationals.
Yeah. So obviously you have strength. I mean, you're not just fast, as the 4:04 would indicate, but you have some of that is based on.
Yeah, I was in really good shape senior year, and my hurdling technique wasn't that great, and it was more of a fartlek, but and then I guess I never fell in a race either, so that always helps.
Yeah, especially those big races.
The water pits and stuff didn't take a tumble, luckily.
So what drew you to the trails? Because obviously you had success, and sort of the normal progression would be to, try the 5K, 10K road scene, or continue on with track.
Yeah, I mean the normal progression would probably be going to the road scene a bit, but training out of Great Falls and Black Eagle, I find I'm running a lot more by myself, so and I don't do as many workouts, and then let alone track workouts to keep the leg speed up. So trail races and even road races are a lot easier because they spread out a lot more, and it's a lot more fighting against the clock as opposed to tactical and championship style racing.
Gotcha. oh, this is a long race. There are, over the past couple years, tactics do kind of play out. There's some racers who are stronger on the climb, some on the descent. What do you think your strengths will be out there on Saturday?
I think it's definitely the climbing, but at the same time, this is a little higher altitude than I've been living right now. So, I mean, being in college at 7,200 feet, I know what altitude does, but I know even more so what it does to the people coming up in altitude, which is never fun. So now I'm in those shoes. So we'll see. But I think with the longer distance, it's all about staying within your comfort zone, but also keeping people within reach.
Yeah. Even though you've been living up in Montana and it's kind of a more insular scene up there just because of the distance involved, there was some great competition at Don't Fence Me In this year. How did that go for your first sort of real competitive trail race?
It was the furthest race I'd done at the time. So I think besides Don't Fence Me In 30K and Old Gabe 50K, I've only done half marathons. I've never done a marathon. I like saying that though. But so that one was just kind of staying within myself, like the first climb. But the first climb, I found I was relaxing and ended up just kind of pulling away from people up from the main pack and going right past the early leader at the very top. And then I know in general, like trail runners and ultra guys are really aggressive and really good at running downhill. So I knew they'd be coming on the downhill. But for the most part, I ended up getting a little bit of a lead, and it was just stay comfortable and be ready if they do catch you. But so far, they didn't come back in the race later, luckily.
Gotcha. You mentioned that you've run some half marathons, including this past weekend, where you ran 109, was it?
Yeah, I was like mid 109, so it wasn't a great race, or not really super fit for a half, but it was all right. Like, I think based off of the elite field, it was more just racing the competition. Gotcha. So there was one guy that was definitely just in better shape, but I was happy to still hold on to second place pretty well.
Gotcha. This is your first really competitive trail ultra. Is there anybody you're excited to race out there this weekend?
There's a lot of big names, that I'm not familiar with. I'm not as familiar with the ultra scene and stuff, so a lot of it's just learning, like taking it in, and it's a really fun community to hopefully be more a part of after this race, and maybe make some friends. But for the most part, got to respect anyone that's been doing it for a while, and they're all kind of my gauge of where I should be at in the race as well. Like, if I'm way ahead of them at mile 2, I'm probably doing something wrong.
And do you think you can like reel yourself in if you find yourself in that spot?
Hopefully I don't, but and if I do realize it, but no, I don't think I plan on passing anyone early.
Gotcha.
But hopefully, just stay behind, and hopefully that's comfortable. If it's not comfortable, then kind of just get into my own race.
Gotcha. Well, best of luck out there and have fun.
Thank you very much.
And a quick bonus question. Montana guys, all you out there, trail runners, made some good calls on Seth Swanson, and have pointed out Jim before this race. So I want to ask, Jim, what's your favorite part of living in Montana?
I love the access to all sorts of mountains and trails. You can drive everywhere, and just everybody's into the trails during the summer, so it's really great.
Nice.